and a pithing needle.
Verdant
we'll see what he named.
Catacomb.
Yeah. The name literally out of the veil, actually.
Fine.
Yeah. Here's a swamp that Thoughtseize. Get a good look at what Tiller is working with here. There's a Fatal Push, an Ancient Stirrings, a Chromatic Sphere, an Expedition map, and it looks like a basic swamp. The name again was Lily on the Veil, not Verdant Catacombs.
Not a great hand here for Tiller. Neither Tron nor a big payoff card.
Not yet. No Tron yet.
Yeah.
Give it time. Kind of a slower matchup, so you're able to keep a hand like this. You've got Push to take care of a Dark Confidant, which Herrera does have 4 copies of, or a Tarmogoyf, so stem the early beats.
I think Pithing Needle is kind of a sketchy card against Jund.
Not my favorite.
They have a lot of artifact removal that's incidental. Trying to keep something on the table against them is hard. The spheres and the stars, you know, you're just sacking that stuff, that's fine. But the stuff that needs to be on the table to be effective, especially, you know, there's not one lights out card that you can really name.
Also, it's tough, too, because I think if Jund has additional artifact removal in their sideboard, they're going to bring it in.
Right.
Take care of Worm Coil Engine, try to snag an Expedition map if they have an Ancient Grudge or something. So Needle's chances of staying on the battlefield strike me as pretty low.
You also just need, you know, you need a lot of stuff against them. They're attacking your hand, they're attacking your lands. It requires a lot of redundancy to be able to get Tron online and start doing something. And I don't know if you have the wiggle room for some of the, you know, less powerful reactive cards.
Ancient Stirrings is going to find an Urza's Tower, and there's Chromatic Sphere, and now we go back over to Joseph Herrera. Herrera picked up a copy of Abrupt Decay. He's got a Wooded Foothills he could play, and he's got some thinking to do on his second turn of the game. And Herrera should have an idea of all the cards in Tiller's hand at this point. The only thing he doesn't know is the top card of Tiller's deck.
And I think Herrera was giving a read there to see if the sphere was destroyed, could be destroyed, if it can't trip off the sacrifice or if it went to the graveyard, because the sphere and star are different. He might just be going after that.
Potentially. Now, it is Chromatic Star. Now, if it gets blown up, you draw a card. Chromatic Sphere, you do not. Herrera, of course, did write down the cards in Tiller's hand from the Thoughtseize that kicked off the game. And now, you mentioned Abrupt Decay. Maybe going after that that sphere, and that's exactly what's going to happen. All right.
Yeah, I think Herrera has Blood Moon in hand, and he's just trying to cut off a card.
Well, that is the Tower of Power, and you can see Tiller's hand right now. He's got a Fatal Push, a Sanctum of Ugin, and a Swamp. That's it. So Herrera's going to very quickly sacrifice his Bloodstained Mire. I think we'll probably just see a basic mountain, maybe Blood Moon here.
This seems like a fine spot for Blood Moon.
Yeah. And that's a card, okay. Joe Herrera's actually going to search up a Blood Crypt, so be it. But I take a look at Joe Herrera's sideboard right now. He has 4 copies of Blood Moon this weekend. 4 in the sideboard, so he is coming prepared for the Tron decks, be it Eldrazi Tron or normal Tron decks like this green-black version.
And big mana strategies are often challenging for Jund. So if they're prevalent in the metagame, you could easily talk me into 4 Blood Moons.
You generally see players come to the table with Fulminator Mage, Criminal Dust, stuff like that. Maybe 1 or 2 Blood Moons, but 4? We don't see 4 a lot. Now, here's a Thoughtseize. Herrera wants to see exactly what Tiller is working with. Fatal Push, Sanctum of Ugin, and a Swamp. So there goes the only spell he can take. Now here comes Tarmogoyf, and that's the clock, along with an Overgrown Tomb as the land. And away we go as Llanowar wastes the draw here for Samuel Tiller.
Really great Jund curve here of discard, a little bit of disruption, Blood Moon, and now here comes the clock. Though Tiller has drawn enough lands here that there's actually some hope of him just drawing and being able to cast Worm Coil Engine.
In comes Tarmogoyf for 4. Tiller's going to fall down to 16. And it looks like another, it's actually going to be a Scavenging Ooze, not another Tarmogoyf, but it's another creature nonetheless. Ghost Quarter the draw. A lot of lands here for Samuel Tiller. But as you mentioned, the ability to actually hardcast Worm Coil Engine, and if he's able to get lucky enough, we might even be able to see him cast Karn if he draws it.
Although, now with this attack coming, Karn may be too slow.
Gets a lot worse.
Worm Coil's great if Herrera can't kill it.
The follow-up is another. Now it's got to be Worm Coil Engine, as there's another Tarmogoyf. Tiller going to draw a card. It's going to have to be a good one there, Samuel. And that didn't look like it was anything of consequence. It was not. And Joseph Herrera is going to win this match over Samuel Tiller 2-1. Jund going to take care of green and black Tron, but it's actually